love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up!
Welcome everybody to another episode of This is CorbinCenter, and again, a nice little recognition here to a new member of the Patreon family, my growing community, my wonderful community, and this one goes out to Marco. Thank you so much for jumping in and being part of it. I know we're looking forward to having you and all that stuff. And remember, if you sign up for my Patreon before the 31st, you will get a bonus Halloween themed gift too, and I think I'm a very gracious person in doing that. I don't have to do these things, but I do it because I know once you get hooked, you will be there forever. And speaking of things that I'm going to be talking about, big moments and people who have supported me, I want to give a big shout out to my #1 supporter, the guy that no matter how many barbs have been thrown at me, no matter how many times I've been told I was going to lose, the one person who always stood by me was me. And it paid off, because we have to talk about this victory right here. Corbin cometh become the new Pro Wrestling Battleground Tag Team Champions. And while this is a milestone in itself, because it now means that a fledgling tag division will get some stability, because it actually has credibility in a legitimate badass and the biggest mouthpiece that place ever has, in the star power, the variety that we bring, the absolute intensity that we bring. That is what a company needs to build around, and that is what this tag division is going to be centered around. Big Humble, you did a great job, I'll give you that, and yes, you're trying to prove that you could be in the spot that you wish that you had these belts. You had them, but you couldn't hold on to them because you're worried too much about trying to be the party boys, and that's how that works. And Big Humble, you'll figure it out. You'll get there maybe someday, but not as long as we are holding these. And I hope that you take this as not the criticism that it is, but you realize that I know what I'm talking about, because in the 13 years that I have been with Pro Wrestling Battleground, first of all, that is loyalty and that is stability right there. That means that when I say that I make things happen, they do. But in those 13 years, I am a 3-time Pro Wrestling Battleground heavyweight champion. I won the Breakout Championship at 39, a feat that many people said would be impossible or too late to break out, and I'm just going to show you I have plenty of years left in the tank. I'm not slowing down. I look better than some of the young guys that are out there. I mean, like, just think, once you're done doing all the crazy stuff that you think will impress people to get your gifts out there, just remember, I'm still wrestling at a top level, closing in on 1,400 matches. And then I solidify it with this tag title win with the best tag partner that I could ask for in heavy metal lore. And I am also a winner of the Rice Street Rumble, which is just around the corner. I have done everything there is to do in Pro Wrestling Battleground. And right now, we're going to leave our mark on the tag division, and that is the biggest thing. But when I say, you know, again, Rob Page, I'm going to give you credit on this. When I said I was a Triple Crown champion, and when you threw in the Rice Street Rumble, you made me realize that I do more. There's so much more. I downplay my own accomplishments because there's so many. And that, I got to remember that I shouldn't do that. That I should, as humble as I always am, not to make you jealous, Spriggle, but I mean, as humble as I am, I do not talk about myself nearly enough. And that's why when I have a forum like this, I should be able to talk about the things that impact me and directly impact you, the wrestling fan, who needs to know that when you go to these shows, that at least somebody like me is speaking the truth and not just whipping out cliche promos every single time and saying the things that they wish that they truly deep down hope to believe. They want to believe they're the top star. They want to believe, but just everybody, you are so run-of-the-mill, and that is why you won't beat Corbin cometh, and that's why I'm the first ever Grand Slam, and that's why when I tell people that things are going to happen, they do. Freelance. I still don't understand this. I still don't understand why on this card, which I will give is stacked, you have quite a lot of talent on here, but I look at some of the matches and I can't help but think, what does that person have over me? What does that person bring to the table that I haven't brought to the table over the past couple of years? And who has been one of the most reliable and consistent performers? And you're going to go back to Logan Square and not feature the guy that almost set that building on fire with a microphone in his hand? And that's what happened the last time that one of my matches, one of my big matches, did not happen. I went out there and I made people understand. It wasn't that they rallied behind me. I was not the next CM Punk. Like the whole idea that people were like, oh, look at him. Look what he's trying to do. You idiots, look at the first part when I said that that is exactly what I was doing. I'm in Chicago and just like a man who sat cross-legged. Don't forget that I am very, very self-aware. And I'm very self-aware in the sense that I can do this all over again. It wasn't that I rallied people. It was just that I said what everyone was thinking. Why isn't Corbin getting the shot? Why isn't Corbin having these opportunities? And as I've seen this influx, this change in the dynamic of freelance, I have wondered, how many matches do I have to win? How many times do I have to prove myself? How many accomplishments do I have to do as a former champion and the longest reigning tag team champion? What more do I have to do for you to respect me and to put me as a focal point again? Because I think deep down what really bothers me the most is even when I was champion, that was a Trojan horse as far as what I'm concerned with freelance doing. It was a feel-good moment, a reward for the fans to have an understanding that anybody with the ability to draw people in would be able to be rewarded. But what you fail to realize is that somebody like me has never needed the support of any company anywhere I go. I have been a nomadic superstar my entire life. That's why I've never stuck in one place for a long time. That's why even my home base, I am not frequently here. But with that said, I want you to know that like a Trojan horse, I will invade the feel-good moment of this family, this building, this understanding of this way of working its way up, and the idea of rewarding those homegrown talents, which freelance has based their morals on for so long. But I will not set my success aside for you to feel good. And that's just a warning. As I said, I don't play well with others. I never needed management. You know, again, I talked, Second Wrestling, you suspended me. And you finally realized the error of your ways. You finally realized that maybe, just maybe, you were missing something. And what would that key component be? And all I had to do is send a compelling little argument to the fact that maybe in 2024, if we were able to put this all behind us, think of how the first half of 2023 looked to the second half of 2023, and think of when the most attention, the most eyes, no matter who you brought in, no matter how much you tried to emphasize your stars, how the Billy Starks title reign, your Eric Cannons, all your special guests, all of those things I eclipsed. And coming into the show, nobody was talking about it until you lifted my suspension. And now, even in 2024, either I'm getting a title shot or I have to play by the rabbi's rules if I lose, and I would have to do all the matches that he would choose to personally book me in. And I'm just going to throw it out there, Rabbi. This was a hard bargain for me because I know the way that you book shows, and I would say that this is kind of a tricky one. So you can see how desperate I am for that championship, because while I am absolutely scared at what you think you could come up with that would be in good faith against me, nothing would make me happy more than to hold that championship and have you raise my hand and prove that I, the guy you can't stand the most, the biggest thorn in your side, is now the face of your company. So we have it. Destination Pro, I could talk about you all day long. I could talk about all the little discrepancies and why all the things you do is a bad idea, but Honestly, we're running long as is. Maybe I'll save it for another time when you say something else stupid. But I also want to say that I have another championship that's coming up that's going to be added to my collection. It will be when I go to Madhouse. My match was just literally announced. I go to Madhouse and I take on their champion, Jimmy Wild. It is always an honor and a pleasure to know that a place trusts me so much that I can just walk right in through the front doors, be granted that championship match, and they trust me taking their championship, because right now what Madhouse needs is a performer of my stature. Look, you've already seen the championship belts that I've won, and everyone else is recognizing it. Look at what happens when you put my name on the card. Look what happens when I get people talking about what I'm doing. All the promotions that I just mentioned know these things, whether they want to admit it or not. And Madhouse, at least it gets it right. So if you're going to come to Rochester, you're going to come to Minnesota, why would you not book the biggest star in Minnesota and also allow him to be the face of your company? Well, thank you for the opportunity. I will make the most of it. And obviously, I got a lot coming up now. I mentioned the Rice Street Rumble is going to be coming. Some stuff that we still got to work out here coming up in December, which we got that. I will be going back to Time Bomb, so I have that, finishing out the years with Freelance here. I got the dates to the end of the year. And then, of course, WrestlePalooza is coming up in January. So what I want you to remember is when we sign off, do not forget that this right here will not be the last championship that I win in 2023. That is a promise. This is CorbinCenter.